Can you become an architect if you hold a bachelor's degree in interior design? Well, in this video, I'm going to be answering your question and I'm going to be breaking down the information of how you go about becoming a licensed architect if you do have an interior design degree or an undergrad outside of architecture. So let's get started. Because it's so hard for me to really take the time to answer all your questions in a lot of detail, like I like to answer them, I decided to make this into a series where every week I'll be answering your questions that you post on YouTube, and I'll be going into them in depth and ideally trying to keep it under 4 minutes and provide as much detail. So in today's video, I'm going to be answering a question from a viewer. Hello Ashley, you post really helpful videos. Thank you. You're very welcome, and I'm so happy to hear that. I am an interior designer, a Bachelor of Design. I spent 4 years in my bachelor's, and now I'm working in professional field, working in the field. I realize that I'm more into architecture. Part of it is because I have worked mostly on architectural projects during my 4 years of experience. Can I become an architect? Like, can I apply for a master's degree in architecture? This is a great question. And one thing, just to start to break this down, is if you hold a bachelor's degree, any bachelor's degree in any program, let's say in this case it's interior design, but if it's in pharmacy, or let's say it's in philosophy or in science, whatever it might be, you can still get your master's and become an architect. So you need to make sure, if you are planning to become licensed, that whatever master's degree that you do take, it needs to be accredited. It has to be from an accredited school. So in Canada, there are currently 12 accredited master's degree programs, which I will list here. And those are the main programs within the country that will allow you to become a licensed architect, because those are accredited programs by the CACB. Now, it's important to note that from the 12 accredited programs, you're only eligible to apply to 4 programs. And that includes Carleton University, University of British Columbia, University of Calgary, and University of Toronto. These 4 programs are accredited master's degree programs that don't require an undergrad in architecture. So anyone with a bachelor degree in interior design, engineering, anything outside of the field of architecture, as long as you hold a bachelor's degree, you're able to apply to these 4 programs, and these are accredited professional programs in order to get your license. And then once you finish your master's in architecture, you will get a certification that says that basically your education is accredited and qualified by the CACB, and then that allows you to then become an intern architect. And then as part of the internship in architecture, you need to collect your experience, and you need 3,720 hours. The key about that is you need to get that experience in particular categories. And each category has a set of required hours that you need. So make sure to pay attention to that. And then once you get the minimum amount of hours, so if you're thinking of writing the EXAC exam, which is the Canadian-based exam, after gaining 2,800 hours, you're able to write the exams. Now, this is up to you. You can either write the exams right when you have 2,800 hours, or there are many interns that wait until they finish their hours or they complete the whole internship, the whole hours, like the 3,720 and all of those categories, and then they decide that they feel more comfortable with the experience that they have to write the exam. I personally went in the route of writing it as soon as possible. So once I got 2,800, I wrote the exam. I don't think there's anything wrong with going with that approach or with waiting. It really comes down to the individual if you feel ready to write the exam. So upon writing the exam and passing the 4 sections, if you are writing the EXAC, and you also have the option, depending on the province in which you're going to become licensed, but the majority of the provinces do recognize the ARE, which is the American-based exam. So you can do either one. So upon finishing your exams, you can now, basically you're licensed. Now, depending, I should add that if you are in Ontario, for example, you need to do the admission course as well. So you have to complete that and attend the admission course and do the courses that are involved. And then you're able to become an architect. And each province may have other additional items, like you may have to do an interview if you are in BC. So of course, always make sure to check with your jurisdiction. So if you're in Ontario or BC, check what are the additional requirements. But across Canada, you need your hours, you need to write your exams, and then depending on the province, you may have specific additional requirements, such as the admission course for Ontario. So once you're done that, then you could apply for your license, where they will review and double check that you completed your internship program, you completed your education, everything checks out, perfect. Then you're able to get that approved, and then you're basically an architect. Now, the process is quite lengthy when you look at it completely, but just remember that it's a journey, it's not a race. So once you complete all of those steps, you basically can become an architect. And if you choose that you don't want to be licensed, you can finish your master's in architecture, work in the field, see how you like it or not, and then you can see if you even feel the need of getting licensed. Just remember that you don't need to get your license to work in the industry as an architect. Now, there are opportunities and advantages of getting your license, but in the end, it comes down to you as an individual and what you feel is best in your situation. I always feel like if you finish your master's, you might as well go all the way almost, but it is an additional, you're looking at upon finishing your master's, depending on how you're able to get those hours, it may take, it could take 3 years, but it's very hard to get it done in 3 years. It may take 5 years, 6 years, depending. I think it's a journey worthwhile because while you're working in the industry, I would start logging those hours, even if you might change your mind later, but at least you have those hours logged because you can't backlog those hours. There's an advantage even if you're possibly getting licensed or maybe not, but you can't decide. I would just start logging your hours once you're done your master's degree. And also in Ontario now, you can start to log hours as a student. So if you are studying in your master's and you decide to have some summer jobs in between your first and second year, you can actually log those hours as well. But you need to make sure you're a registered student. So in Ontario, you become a student associate and you can start logging those hours once you get that status. But you can't backlog. So I think if you're playing with the idea and you're not sure, just start logging those hours and then you can figure things out as you're going. And there's nothing wrong with logging those hours, and then you can decide, in the end, if you don't want to go forward with the license, that's okay. You have the hours there. But if you do change your mind, you have those hours and you don't have to redo those hours, and you can't backlog, so you can't take that time back. So I would definitely recommend that if you are thinking of becoming an architect and if you're thinking of going into this journey. I'm really happy to hear that you really do enjoy architecture and you've already have 4 years of experience in the industry. So you already know what you're getting yourself into. So that's really great as well. So I hope this answers your question. And if you have questions as well, just comment down below in this video, put down your questions, and I'll be doing weekly videos answering your questions. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you on the next video. Until then, bye.